The long missing victims had arrived at the police station. This wild tale began one day ago. One day, a visually impaired old man cooking heard a strange noise behind him. He turned to see a blurry figure. Due to the old man's poor vision, the killer was confidently unaware of being detected. However, just the next moment, the police had already been dispatched and were rapidly making their way to the scene. Led by Detective Black, the crime team swiftly arrived. Only old bills were found on the killer, no other evidence. Killer left virtually no clues, the scene was barren. Jem, the old man, was once a legend in the precinct. After years of ups and downs, Jem was retired. Initial speculation suggested that the killer might be an old friend. After years as a cop, he's made many enemies. But Jim suddenly had an epiphany when he learned the origin of the old bills. Jim, after a nudge from Officer Ali, smacked his forehead and exclaimed, "Oh man, this seems so familiar. The mastermind is Lucky, a kidnapper I handled ages ago. Those bills are the ransom from that kidnapping case. But the last victim from back then is still MIA." What puzzled Jim was, Lucky had pocketed millions. Why risk exposure now? Could there be a hidden secret? To get to the bottom of it, Jim called in his old partner, Sarah. Lucky's sudden reappearance made it clear things went simple. Police found no killer info in their database. What Jim's hunch was right. Those old bills came from the kidnapping, and what followed was unbelievable. Experiment showed the victim was provoked, not decapitated, by the mastermind. Killer actually sent the victim's head on purpose. But could it really be the long-lost Lucky? It couldn't be that simple. Ali told Sarah about the golden dust, making things trickier. Let's follow this lead, there might be unexpected treasures. So they began their tests. The results were shocking. It was a type of beer yeast. This suggested that the girl's body might be buried at a brewery. Although this clue was major, finding the actual location was no easy feat. Yet, unexpectedly, just when the case was making some progress, another kidnapping occurred. A female officer was abducted while patrolling a mall, making everyone wonder if it was related to Lucky. However, it wasn't the case, as the truth surpassed their imagination. Meanwhile, Sarah and an officer traced it to an abandoned brewery. There, they found the golden dust on the victim's head and stumbled upon a headless corpse and a stash of old cash. After comparisons, this corpse was confirmed as a kidnapping victim, and it even contained a bullet from a home invasion. The test results shocked everyone. The killer wasn't Lucky, as the bullet matched a solved murder case perfectly. That suspect, named Alice, had died in prison 2 years ago. After comparisons, it was clear he was Lucky. A dead man can orchestrate. Unfortunately, they had no lead on this, but they would soon be surprised by a sudden twist. At the mall where the officer was kidnapped, a server received an old-style tip and immediately reported it. Coincidentally, it was the ransom from Lucky. Although the fingerprints and the bills were damaged, the investigation team used high-tech methods to analyze the suspect's characteristics. The suspect was a man who had been in prison, known for his violence, who had just been released. To ensure her safety, the team had to quickly find him. Unexpectedly, the killer approached Sarah that night. Years ago, it was a member of Sarah's team who sent him to prison. Sarah was on high alert, but he claimed he was innocent. He insisted that he had been framed by the investigation team. Before she knew it, he vanished into the crowd. Luckily, Sarah managed to take a picture of his car's license plate. The police quickly traced it back to his residence. A swarm of officers burst into the place, but it was empty. The suspect had vanished, leaving behind the missing officer's service weapon. However, it was strange. The killer escaped but left the victim's gun. That's illogical unless he never left. Detective Black quickly realized and found the man and kidnapped officer in a hidden compartment. Fortunately, the officer was unharmed, but a document at the scene caught the investigation team's attention. It turned out that this man wasn't the real mastermind. He was just a puppet following orders. Detective Black questioned him tirelessly, but he remained tight-lipped about the real mastermind. Even when promised leniency, capturing one killer didn't end the case. It was just the beginning. Time was pressing. The team had no rest, and Detective Black and Sarah found the barn in the documents. But when they learned the tenant's name, Sarah was taken aback. It was her former colleague, David. She couldn't believe what this place was hiding, a full-on secret lab. It had all the equipment needed for falsifying evidence, leaving Sarah puzzled about what David was up to. She had never heard him mention this place, and based on past experience, Sarah suspected this might be an elaborate trap. David's pristine fingerprints made it hard to prove this was a conspiracy, and Detective Black wasn't giving Sarah much time to figure it out. To uncover the truth, Sarah needed to team up with Jim before the police indicted David. I binge-watched this crime thriller while scrolling my phone in the bathroom, and it was absolutely riveting. Every case is so captivating that it's hard to pull away, the plot is tight and flaw-free. Now, let's check out the next episode. If you liked this story, don't forget to subscribe to my channel.